Hello everyone and welcome to my skinning tutorial. In this video, I'll talk about how the end file works in War Thunder. So, whenever you extract the file from the game or from the CDK, it will look something like this. But we do not use this file the way it is right now to edit it, okay? So, first thing you gotta do is you gotta go here into colors and you gotta decompose it. For Photoshop users, there's gonna be a menu here on the right side, and you just change to the channels tab, okay? Here in GIMP, you have to decompose all the channels into layers, and then you're gonna have to select the RGBA model. After decomposition, you're gonna end up with 4 channels and 4 layers in the case of using GIMP. So, what does the end file do? It controls how light interacts with your skin. So I'm gonna boot up the game right now, and I'm gonna use my tutorial example. Alright, so as you can see, light reacts differently depending on what kind of material it hits. For example, the fuselage and the paint on the fuselage, and the metal here on the exhaust. You can see that for multiple different vehicles in the game because that's how it works. And it's just a fact, okay? Alright, so what channel represents that? There are 2 of them, the red and the blue channel, okay? Going back to GIMP, the red channel is gonna control how glossy something looks like. The blue channel is all the metallic parts of the skin. It controls how metallic something is. Those 2 channels are what we call material channels. They just control how light interacts with a certain material. Alright, now with this information, what we're gonna do is the following. I'm gonna open my template that I made for this plane, the A6M6. Uh, there are multiple people that release templates on live.warthunder you can use. Just give them credits after you finish using them and you post your skin. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna show how the different materials look like under the light. For this, we're gonna use the base paint. Here on the right side we have. I'm gonna make a new layer because I don't like mixing up stuff. So just give me a second. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna pick one of the wings and we're gonna do different stripes of glossiness on them. And we're gonna do one example with a metallic surface and the other example with a non-metallic surface. So you can even see the difference between the metals. Alright, we have both wings painted full black. Now we're gonna do stripes. And the way it works, it goes from 0 to 50 and from 50 to 100. Anything darker than 50% gray is gonna look rough, and anything lighter than 50% gray is gonna look more glossy. So let's do about 10 stripes here. Okay, now we have a good gradient going here. And now we must do something similar for the metallic wing as well. And the non-metallic. Okay, so right now we're gonna do this wing non-metallic, so it has to be black, and the right wing is gonna be metallic. And I'm gonna do vertical stripes to also see the gradient from the non-metallics to metallic. There we go. Now we have two different gradients going on, and we're gonna be able to see the difference inside the game. So to make this happen now, I just need to compose this into the end file format. So just give me a second while I make this. As you can see, there's a huge difference on how the light interacts with the surface. Here on the tips, it's very, very shiny and chrome-like. While on the base of the ring, the root, it's way more rough. The right wing is the metallic one, while the left wing is the non-metallic. Now if I just put them in their extremes, let's see how it goes. And here you have a full non-metallic wing and a full metallic wing. You can see all the shine differences here with a very chrome-like aspect on the wingtip, while the metallic part acts way different from the other part. Okay, with this cleared out, let's go to the second part of the video. So, this is just messing around with the blue and the red channel. Now we gotta mess around with the alpha and the green channel. Because if you've noticed it, there's no depth to the skin at all. It's just a plain surface. But if I show you the other template, it has all these lines, all these bumps on it. So, what the alpha and the green channel do is they control the elevation on the skin and how the light is gonna react to it. But you might be asking yourself how to make those elevation changes if the green file just looked like this, or sometimes like this, and you don't have much control over it the way it is. Modern games use a lighting technique called normal maps to simulate the depth on the surfaces by using light tricks to make holes sink into the surface and, for example, mushroom rivets pop out of the surface. How to make a normal map? It's quite simple. There are a couple of ways of doing it. Some people use bevel and emboss in Photoshop. I I prefer to use height maps. And the way you use a height map is the following. You're gonna create a new file and you're gonna make the background of it 50% gray. So let's do it all 50, 50, 50. And paint the background. The next step is getting all the elements that add or subtract elevation on the skin from the template. So let me do this in a second. Okay, so what to do now after you added all the layers? Well, the answer is very simple. Everything that pops out of the skin must be lighter than the 50% gray. It must be on a higher value than 50%. Anything that's gonna sink into the skin must be darker than 50%, so it's more close to black. Now, this requires very fine adjustments, otherwise it's gonna look very ugly, and it takes a while to set up. So let me do an example here. I'm gonna make all the small rivets be mushroom head, and the other rivets, the darker ones, I'm gonna make them sink into the skin to look it like a little bit of a hole of sorts. Panel lines are gonna be the same. I want them to be darker than sink into the skin, not pop out of it. So give me a little bit of time until I set everything up the way I like it, and then I'm gonna show you how to transform this height map grayscale into a normal map. Okay, after that's done, what we're gonna do is we're gonna merge everything, and we're gonna do a normal map filter on it. And here you can see how it's gonna look like. Okay, so we have our normal map. How do we put it into the skin now? Quite simple. You're gonna have to decompose the layers of it into the channels. RGB. You discard the blue channel. You don't need it. The red channel is gonna go over the alpha channel on the end file. And the green channel is gonna go over the green channel. So, copy that. Let me hide this. And now I just have to paste it on top. Same thing for the green channel. Let's view it. Copy the green channel and paste over it. Now what we gotta do, we gotta do the composing again. And there you go. You have all the lines and the rivets on it. Now you just gotta export it to the game and see how it looks. Okay, so this is the king with bumps. The one that comes with the template. So you don't have to do all the height mapping and all that kind of stuff, because I already made it for you. There's gonna be a bunch of templates in War Thunder Live, but they might not have the end file models and the bump maps. So you're gonna have to mess around and do it yourself, as I showed you earlier. Here, with no bumps, it looks something like this. It's very plain, no depth at all, but with the bumps, ta-da! There you go. Light is gonna hit the rivets in a way that they're gonna pop out of the skin, in this case, and the panel lines are sinking into the skin. As you can see, there's a very, very large amount of difference between this and this. Now all you gotta do is fine tune the details to how you want it, because it takes a lot of time to get it just right. Okay, so now we have the skin as it is, but we don't have the damage model yet. How do you make it? Is you gotta apply the concepts we learned into the damage model. So all the holes that sink into the skin are gonna be dark, and all the things that pop out of the skin are gonna be white. With that in mind, all the entry holes of bullet impacts are gonna be dark. All the exit ones can be white. It's very simple. So let me show you something. I used the same normal map we did before and only replace the damage one that came with the template. As you can see, the holes are not sinking into the skin. They're just transparent holes. If I use ANSO, you're gonna be able to see it even better. Just let me approximate the camera a bit, zoom in. As you can see, there's no edge on the holes, it's just a transparent hole. There's nothing changing it. Here as well, you can see the same thing. On the template I've made before, you're gonna notice a very, very large amount of difference. If I go over here and zoom in, you're gonna realize that the holes have a lightened edge around them. And that's gonna give the impression of depth, of the surface actually being torn apart and getting into the skin. And it's very noticeable, as you can see. So, how to make this? It's gonna be quite simple. You're just gonna apply the ideas we use to make the normal map for this into the holes. So you're gonna use the same height map. You're just gonna put the holes on top of it. And I'm gonna show you how in just a second. Okay, so here we have the height map as it was. I'm gonna go over to my scan template and I'm gonna copy all the layers related to the damage. Everything important. Okay, so let's get the transparency because that's gonna be the part that's gonna sink into the skin. And you just paste on top of it. And if I make it stay like this, very dark, because this is like 100% dark, black, 000 as you can see. That's gonna be very rough on the model. So let me show you how it looks. I'm gonna merge everything. I'm gonna use the normal map filter on it. As you can see, the edge is very lightened up. Now you're gonna do the same thing and decompose it. Same thing as before, just crop the blue, change the red to alpha, and copy them on top. Because this is a damage layer, I'm just gonna rename them very quickly. DMG, DMG, so I don't mess stuff around my template. Close this. You can do this. Okay. Alpha on alpha and green on green. Just compose them so we can render it to the game format. And let's export that to the DMG file with bumps and to the NDMG. And now here's the result. As you can see, the light does a little rim around the hole, which the other way didn't have. So yeah, that's how you do the damage model. And that concludes our tutorial on how the end file works. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any suggestions, please type it on the comments. And I'm happy to help you guys because this is a sort of information that doesn't show up on the regular, like it's not that available if you don't know how to search for it. I myself struggled with it for quite a while until I got the hang of it. It takes a little bit of time to get used to all the process, but it's gonna be worth it and it's gonna improve your skin making a lot. Well, again, I hope you guys like this and bye.